Well, hi, good morning. Welcome to my shop. It's July 1st, Canada Day. It's a big day here in Canada where we celebrate Canada and being Canadian. So lots of stuff going on today. Unfortunately, the weather is really bad here where I am. Canada's a big, big country with all kinds of weather. So there'll be other areas where lots of Canadians be having lots of fun. Now, what's going on with this radio? So I wasn't in here yesterday. Came in this morning and realizing, of course, my memory's a little foggy of things, so I thought I'm going to poke around a little bit, just get myself back on track. And in the process of doing that, I've lost my frickin' mind. Absolutely. Didn't I convince myself over and over that when the radio's in regular radio reception mode, FM or AM, the sound comes out of both speakers just fine. But when you flip it to tape or phono, one channel becomes very muffled. And I narrowed it down to, I very much narrowed it down to a certain area, certain amount of circuitry. Today I came in, better just lay the foundation again before I turn on the video and make sure things are okay. And like I said, my mind went out the window. So I'm feeding in the FM hiss into both channels right here. The radio's set to tape. There's the button right there. 2 output tubes. Here, I'm sure I previously tested and found the weakness to be present on the grid of one of these 2 tubes. And then I've been tracking the weakness back to where it starts. And that's what I've been doing. Here's the grids of these 2 tubes. First, here's the signal coming in. Identical in both channels, just a hiss. We'll go all the way through all that circuitry to the grid of the output tube. The output tube is a 2-parter, by the way, these tubes. They got a triout and then I don't know if it's a pentote or not, but the output part of the tubes. They have like a preamp built in. So this is the grid of the preamp, which is pin number 1. What do we hear on pin number 1 on this tube? Now the radio's, that's funny. Radio not switched on while I'm doing this. I think I know why I lost my mind. I didn't turn on the radio. I'm way down here. But this is interesting anyway. You can even hear it. Somehow it's making it to this pin through a dead receiver. You know what? There are no active components between this and this grid. So all you would expect to do is the signal to get weaker and weaker as it works its way through the various whatevers in here. Tone controls and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so back to the grid. Here's the grid. And here's the other grid. Here's this grid. It's exactly the same. Contact problem? I think so. Nothing more than that. How does this work? How does this happen? How can this happen? Well, I'm going to turn turn it on right where it is right now. And then we're going to carry on. Now, do I have the speakers connected? Yes. No, not quite. Speakers are connected. Volume is at an unknown setting. Let me make it known, because I don't want to blast my ears out. Of course, I can deal with. You know what? I can use the little radio here to control the volume. So we'll turn this down. Okay, minimum signal coming in. We're safe. Here we go. Here we go. I have nothing to talk about while we're waiting for it to warm up, so we'll just have to wait. Now it's just possible you may be able to hear a hum and a buzz coming out of here. this thing hums and buzzes a little bit. I can't get rid of it completely from the speaker. Well, we don't hear anything, so now I'm going to turn up the input. There we are. Well, I can hear it right now because it's in stereo. If I shut off the signal, that the channel that seems to be working right, we're left with that muffled thing. How does it get muffled? I heard the signal here. Okay, let's repeat this. Now I'm going to disconnect the two speakers. So the only thing we can hear is this guy. And my hand on the volume control of my tracer. Here we go. Pin number 1. Where is it? Where'd it go? Pin number 1. This is not working out well at all. How come it's so intermittent here? Okay, we hear it. Oh, you know what? When I turn the volume down on the receiver, I'll be turning it down on this connection. So, okay, that's fine. Now I'm going to turn up the input a little bit. Let's go back here. It's pretty loud now, I imagine. Okay, I've raised it up even higher. Let's come back here. I expect these to sound different. I don't really care what they sound like, just that they sound different. Pin 1 on one tube. Pin 1 on the other tube. How can those two sound exactly the same? Just conflicting information here. Wow. False memories, everything happening all at once. So it looks like a good signal. Let's see, I'm running the set on a low voltage right now. How low? 78 volts, that's too low. Let's give it the full Monty here. And we'll check again. It shouldn't really make any difference, should it? Should it? Bigger pop because there's some voltage here. I can barely hear it. Barely hear it. Isn't that kind of odd too? Let me put this on here and turn the radio volume up and down. What happened there? What happened there is my radio batteries have died. Yeah, time for coffee. Okay, 6 dead batteries out. They are dead. Now, plug this back in. Okay, signal being sent. Back over to this bigger radio. Try it again. Set is off. You really can't hear it. See, even with the set off, if there was something funny going on, then because there's 2 circuits here, you hear a difference. Zero difference there. Let's do something else. I'm going to just make sure I'm not totally bonkers here. I'm only 50% bonkers. That's good. You hear it there? Gone from here. Red guys on the right. Back. Pull it out. Where'd it go? Some trouble making contact right here. It's there. And then here. Gone. Okay, so everything's working just as I would expect. 2 channel signals coming up here. And I don't know what to say. Now it looks like the output tube is presented with the correct signal. What has gone on here, either in this radio or in my head? Okay, now let's power it back up. This time we'll put it on full voltage. You know, so what it's looking like now is because I swapped these tubes and the problem didn't move. Its components right around the output tubes. Can we intercept the signal between the plate of the preamp triode and the other grid? I'm pretty sure we can. The other grid, this is just so small I can't read anything. Here we go. I have frustration in my voice already. Holy smokes. So pin number 3 is receiving the output of pin number 9. And it's going through, you know, a network of stuff. Of course. Thank you, German engineers, once again. Couldn't just hook a wire up between the two, could you? No. I'd have a pile of resistors and capacitors. Okay. We're switched on. Okay, we'll go full voltage. Speakers disconnected. Let me connect them briefly. One of them anyway, just to hear. Let's hear it. That's the normal channel. That's the AB normal channel. Okay. Oh my gosh. So grid of the triode to start with. Again. Hello. Where is it? I have the volume down so low? I don't have the volume. Okay, over here. I have the volume on the input too low. Okay, so I raised the input. It's pretty high now. You hear the hiss? Oh, you can hear the hiss just getting it close. What's all that about? Oh, bumped the wire. Careful. Well, first of all, if anything's happening at all, I expect it to happen twice because it's a stereo set. So you just expect, you know, if that happens. Well, maybe it is happening, but it's just weak over here. Okay, back to what we're doing. Remember now, the weak one was this one, and the strong one was this one. So we'll look at the grid on here, and what number did I say it was? You better check. Check again. So the grid on the pentode or output part of this tube, 3. Pin number 3. Okay, and it should be louder, of course. So pin number 3. So let's just get this out of here for crying out loud. Yes, my patience is already gone. I've hardly started. Nobody's cooperating today. Okay. That's going to go right on this hot tube here. There we are. Okay, calm myself down. Pin number 3 is right where we're hearing this hiss. Okay, grab the volume control on the tracer. 1, 2, 3. Over here. 1, 2, 3. It's exactly the same. So the input to the output. Oh my gosh, how can I have gotten this bunked up earlier? I'm really unnerved by this. Okay, looking at the output from the 2 tubes. And that's on pin number 6. And there's going to be a chunk of voltage there, so there's going to be a pop on my signal tracer. Pin number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 has this yellow wire here. Pretty loud on the yellow wire. Okay, volume down. Oh, even with the volume down, you hear it. That's pin 6. Now we'll go pin 6 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 yellow wires. Hey. Hey, hey, hey. Pin 6. Pin 6. Oh, we got a hold of something now. We've got a hold of something. So I can see one of the yellow wires comes across back to the other tube. Yeah, don't poke around with this like that. I swapped these tubes and the problem remained. I have to repeat that. I have to repeat that to be sure. Yeah, so we're gonna shut her down, let her cool off. Let me cool off too. I can't believe it, but you know, frankly, I can believe it when I'm doing this work. You know, sometimes the puzzle pieces go together wrong. You get a picture, it looks good, but it's not the right picture. Maybe that's what's happened. It's a lack of coffee. Okay, tubes are cooled down, so am I. Let's take one out. Now I did this already. Yeah. I don't know what's been going on. That's the truth of it. Okay, so cap this one. I can't do this like this. Power's off. There. Oh no. Oh no. I put the tubes down. I don't know which one's which. Oh, for crying out loud. Let me review the video. Maybe I can figure it out from that. Okay, I got it. This guy goes into the other socket here. This is switching them now, quite certain. Yeah, well, being quite certain doesn't mean a lot sometimes. Okay. So this should switch the problem from speakers. Right, if the tube is causing the problem will switch speaker-wise. So why don't we look into that right away? I'll reconnect the speakers over here. Switch this guy on. Just turn down the volume. Give it a moment. I can already tell. It's the same. That speaker's good, this one not. Now let me turn off that speaker up there, and that's what we're left with. You can barely hear it, just a mumble. Can't be the tube. Okay, power off again. So what do we got here? Now it looks like I need to repeat the test of the output plate heading for the you know, actually I'm much more comfortable with this kind of with where this is going in terms of repairing the radio, except for one thing. There's the potential for problems in one of these output transformers or in the Drossel, or even in the way I've connected the speakers over here, although I can't believe that to be the case. We'll just work our way through this. Okay, power back on. We're going to listen to the plates, the output plate of the two output tubes. There we go. Just double check here. Something. Yeah, it's exactly the same. The problem is apparent. So it's pin number 6, I'm pretty sure. I don't want to make a mistake here. That's probably what happened in the past, is I made some kind of mistake and sent me off on the wrong trail. Or that's what's happening right now. Or happened both times. I've never been on the right trail. Okay, I'm going to cut the speakers off. I can't even hear the second one. And we're going to jab pin 6. Pin 6. Pin 6. Pin 6. So we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A yellow wire is coming here. You can hear it. And I reasoned out before that this was that speaker, which sounds good. Now we'll go pin 6 on this tube. And on the volume control, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I might have so much trouble on this tube. Well, that sounded identical. I'm going to take my hand off the tracer volume control. We'll hear them both volume-wise. Pin 6 over here. We count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Single yellow wire. They sound exactly the same. Oh my gosh, what is going on here? But they don't sound the same when they get to the speaker. This is not more comfortable troubleshooting, but actually we're getting into a big danger zone here. We're starting to identify these output transformers as being in trouble. Now there's lots of other possibilities, so we're not going to jump to that conclusion. The problem with the output transformer being defective is that's pretty much it for this receiver. That's the problem. That would be very unfortunate. You know what has stopped me over and over from exploring this part of the radio is the basic idea that when you flip this thing onto AM, it sounds fine. How can that possibly be the case? How can this possibly be the case? Okay, I've asked it twice, so now I'm going to have to do something about it. I'm going to have to put this back on AM and convince myself that when it's flipped to AM, you know what might be going on here? There's more switches switching than I'm appreciating. That's probably the case. Probably when you flip between tape and radio, other switches are operating somewhere, bringing stuff into the circuit that's not there. Maybe that's part of the picture. I don't know, maybe. Okay, so we got to flip the AM button here, but how am I going to do this with this operating radio floating here? I'm going to tip it up on its end a little bit. Reach up and do it. Okay, I don't like this. So when I grab the chassis, of course, I'm solidly grounded onto the chassis, and the shock hazard goes way up. Not that I'm going to get a shock doing this. Okay. AM. Successful. Here we're successful. Don't hear a thing. Oh, speaker's not connected. Okay, connecting the speakers. What's the volume? Volume is low. It's one speaker. There's the other speaker. One speaker. They both sound the same. So that observation's valid. Play the radio. Hear both channels. Play the tape. Hear only one channel. Tape signal making it all the way through to the plate of the output tubes, heading for the output transformer. So there's some switches out in that area that is doing something. So I'm going to study this. Oh my God, there's a whole pile of them. I can see them all here. Okay, I got to study that for a little bit. I think I'm in the right zone now. I think so. Switches after the output transformer. Well, I've kind of looked at this part of the circuit before, but not in terms of a problem being there. Let's zoom in a little more. And I'm going to go right to the end here. Look at the switch. Look at that switch. This one says TAA. Tape A. Push tape A and something happens between these three connectors. These three terminals. What could that be? And we have this. What is this? These must be external speakers, I believe. This one is the connector that is mounted right here on the radio, which I have nothing plugged into. Now you can see the one channel this way and the other channel that way. So, I mean, there's some crossover action happening here. Now here's this 160. This is really suspicious now. This is really, really suspicious. 160 microfarad, big whopping capacitor. One of these is in the radio receiver chassis, and the other one is in the cabinet. So, yep. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Not all the parts are here. One of the parts is in the radio cabinet. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that might explain an awful lot. That might explain an awful lot. So, when the switch here is thrown in such a way that it engages with these 160s, one is here and it engages with it, and the other one is sitting in the cabinet. It can't engage with that one. I could be just chasing smoke here. Yeah. How to resolve this? You know, the best way to resolve this is to drag the cabinet in here, plug everything together, and make it work normally. And make it work in its normal operating mode and see what happens. Oh my gosh, is this really what I've been doing all this time? Do I really have to do that? It's a great big cabinet. Getting the receiver wired up to it. The receiver pretty much has to go right back in the cabinet. Oh boy, I gotta stop. I gotta think hard about this. That's an awful lot of work. And then once it's done, I have to undo it all. Perhaps carry on. Is there some other way I can prove this out? Get that capacitor and bring it in here. Stick another capacitor in the circuit as if it is the... No, you know what? None of that stuff would lead to certainty. It would lead to more observations, more questions. The real way to settle this down is to put it all back together again. Oh my gosh, really? Really? So I've consulted my cup of coffee, and the coffee has told me, yeah, you got to put this all back together and see what really happens in the cabinet. The cabinet's just too tough to bring in here, my little shop, so I'm going to have to do this out of my garage. So this is all going out in the garage. I'm going to wire it back up and see what it sounds like. I'll probably shoot a little bit of video, probably just using my my phone, and we'll see what happens here. Ah, man. Okay, I'm out here in my garage. That would be the Canada Day celebration parade going on in my town. That's my garage security system. I keep a police radio playing in here. Somebody comes in to steal me, they'll be scared by that police radio. That's my theory. Okay. Back to what I'm doing here. So I have the receiver in there. I have it wired up. I have my little radio for the hiss test. This guy has this fantastic door here. Check this out. Look at that, eh? I mean, it's perfectly flat, yet it seems to have this curved travel. It's really neat. Just fantastic. It's really neat. So there's the receiver. It's plugged in ready to go. I'm nervous. Okay, volume down. We'll start with the radio. We'll see what happens here. This is the AM radio. Down here is where the record player goes. And in here you put your, I don't know, snacks. I don't know what that's for. I don't think you can fit a record in there. Okay, come on, radio. So that ticking sound is some kind of interference that I commonly hear. I'll turn it up.
All-wheel drive and enjoy great rates today.
Okay, now I'm going to stick my ear by every speaker here. I'll do the same with my phone.
The New York Times calls it an absolute astonishment. Ravishingly entertaining. It has to be seen to be believed. It raves USA today. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child at the CAA Ed Nervish Theater. Book at nervish.com.
Okay. So the impression I get from doing that is that all these speakers are working properly. Now that seems to be the case, I thought, on AM anyway. We'll switch over to tape here. Okay, let's see if my radio's on. It's not on. There we are. Okay, so we have the hiss operating. This is the big moment. I'll try this with my phone again. There we go. Son of a gun if it doesn't work just perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. Jeepers, what should I try now? Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I've got this voltmeter out here to make sure there isn't any dangerous voltage between the record player, which is plugged in independently, and the rest of the receiver, and there isn't. So it's all plugged in. We're ready to play a record here. Try anyway. So we're gonna flip this to phono. Well, I guess this is phono right here.
5 hours of extra data. Make sure to grab
Yeah, there's really only one button here for phono and tape. Okay, I gotta disconnect the tape because I'm gonna put my phone down for a moment here. Because I think having the tape plugged in there may affect the phono. I'm not sure of that. But anyway, it's unplugged now. The only input is the record player. Let's give it a go here. I'll turn the volume up a bit. Way up. Not much hum. Very surprised. Maybe I don't have this hooked up right. Okay, we're going to try to do this on manual. Now that would be turning slowly. There it goes. So it takes a little while to get up to synchronous speed, but it gets there. Okay, hoping this isn't too loud now. I want to touch that. Ooh, that's going to be a little loud, so I'm going to turn it down. Okay, put this on any old place. What does this sound like? This is a big test. volume check. Lots of volume. Okay, that's it. Record skipping there because I still have this very, very light. Too light. It's too light. We can fix that later though. Okay, there we are. So what have I been doing the last few days? What have I been doing? I've been chasing smoke. I've been chasing smoke. Smoke and smoke and more smoke. Let's just take a look outside here. Great. Hey, Mr. Squirrel. Well, that's why it's hard to maintain a big ego when you're doing this kind of work, because you get shown again and again how fallible you can be. At least me. Is it just me? Am I the only guy who has these kinds of problems doing this work? Somehow I don't think so. Okay, so tomorrow I'll have the receiver back in here. But you can see at this point it's really operating very, very well. You know, I didn't flip on the FM radio out there. A bit of a mistake. I should have done that, but I'm sure that's working very well too. So I've got to think hard now about whether it's worth doing any more work on this receiver, or whether that's just additional risk being added for no real benefit. I have to think about that a little bit. And the owner of this has to think about this stuff too a little bit. So, well, thanks a lot for watching today, and don't know what I'll be doing tomorrow. We'll see. Bye.